There's a specific kind of pain that nobody really tells you about. Not the kind that comes from being with someone who's bad for you. Not the kind that comes from betrayal or dishonesty. Not even the kind that comes from falling out of love. But the kind that comes from meeting someone who you thought will be your partner for the rest of your life and still losing them anyway. Not because anything changed. Not because anyone did anything wrong. It's because the timing just didn't align at that moment. And that might be the hardest thing to make peace with. Because at least when something ends badly, you have a reason to hold on to it. At least when someone hurts you, the distance makes sense. But when everything was good, when the connection felt real, when you genuinely saw something worth fighting for, and it still didn't work out, that kind of loss doesn't come with closure. It just comes with questions you'll spend a long time trying to stop asking. You knew it from the beginning. Something about them just felt different. Not the kind that you talk yourself into, but the kind that catches you off guard. The kind that makes you vulnerable without even realizing you did. They made you feel comfortable in a way that didn't feel real yet, but somehow felt familiar. Like you'd known them a little longer than you actually had. And for a while, that feeling was enough. You let yourself live in it. You stopped overthinking and just allowed it to be what it was, which for someone who used to be aware of everything, that alone meant something. But life doesn't pause for good timing, and somewhere between everything that felt right between you, everything outside of you was moving in the wrong direction. Maybe they were still healing from something that had nothing to do with you, still carrying the weight from a version of their life you never even got to see, and they were still trying. You could see them trying. But trying isn't always enough when the wound is still open. When someone hasn't fully found themselves yet, they can't fully show up for someone else. No matter how much they want to, no matter how real they feel. Or maybe it was you. Maybe you were the second option, building something, figuring something out, standing at a crossroads where adding someone else into the equation would have meant compromising the path you needed to walk alone. And you cared about them enough to know that half of you wasn't enough for someone who deserved all of you. Either way, the result was still the same. Two people, right place, wrong time. And what makes it so heavy is that no one was at fault in the relationship. Nobody cheated, nobody lied, and nobody stopped caring. It was just two people who found each other at a chapter in their life that couldn't hold on in what they had. Like trying to plant something beautiful in the wrong season. The seed was good, the soil was good, but the condition wasn't ready. So you just had to let go, or else they will. Or even both of you will do it at the same time while pretending everything was okay because you think fighting for something that the universe kept quietly pushing back against you felt worse than walking away with the memory intact. And walking away from something good is its own kind of grief. One that isn't always seen because from the outside it just looks like a relationship that didn't work out. But on the inside it feels like losing a future you could almost see. The hardest part isn't even losing the person, but it's the pain of remembering everything. It's seeing all the memories that remind you of them and the sense of familiarity that keeps pulling it in your chest before you even realize what's happening. It's that random evening when nothing significant happens, but you find yourself thinking about the conversation that you once had. Something that other people see as small, something that wouldn't matter to anyone else, but it mattered to you. It's the moments where life gets really good or really hard, and your first instinct is still to go on your phone and tell them. Your heart still misses them, while your mind is trying to move on, and that disconnection between the two is exhausting in a way that's really hard to explain to someone who hasn't been in your position. People will tell you that if it was meant to be, it would have worked out. And maybe they're right, but that doesn't make the loss feel smaller, because meant to be or not, what you felt was real. The connection was real. The moments were real. And real things leave real, genuine marks, regardless of how it ends. Others will say the timing was just an excuse that if two people really want it badly enough, they'll make it work no matter what. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes love isn't enough on its own. Sometimes you need stability, healing, commitment, the right headspace, the right moment in life. And not having those things isn't a failure in love. It's just the reality of being human, being imperfect, still figuring something out. Because here's the thing that nobody tells you about love. It doesn't stop feeling like the right person just because the timing was wrong. You don't stop seeing their qualities in the people you meet after. You don't stop comparing, not out of bitterness, but because the standard they set without even trying was just that real. You meet people who are perfectly available, perfectly stable, perfectly ready, and something still feels like it's missing. And you can't always explain why. You just know that what you had with that person, that ease, that happiness, isn't something you will find again easily. And maybe that's the cruelest part of it all. Not the loss itself, but the fact that you're grateful for it and heartbroken over it at the exact same time. Grateful because they showed you what real connection feels like. Grateful because loving them, even for a small amount of time, made you more sure of what you're looking for. But heartbroken because knowing what's possible and not being able to hold on to it is its own kind of loneliness. You carry them differently than you carry other people from your past. Not with resentment, not with regret, just with this quiet tenderness for what it was and what it almost became. So if you're sitting with this right now, if there's someone in your life or recently out of it that this is bringing up, I want you to know that what you're feeling is valid. Grieving something good is still grieving. Missing someone who didn't hurt you is still missing someone. And healing from a love that was simply poorly timed is still healing. You're not dramatic for feeling this deeply. You're not weak for still thinking about them. You're just someone who was loved enough to recognize something was real when it was in front of you. And that's actually rare. Not everyone slows down enough to feel things the way you do. Not everyone lets people in the way you did. And yes, it left you with a loss that's hard to accept. But it also means you're capable of something a lot of people spend their whole lives searching for. The right person at the right time is still out there. And when they arrive, every chapter that came before, including this one, will make sense in a way that can't be explained right now. Until then, let yourself feel it, all of it, because a love that was real, even when it was brief, even when it felt incomplete, deserves to be honored. Not held on to forever, but honored. And so do you.